Hey guys, welcome back to Pages of the Globe. Today I'm going to be reading to you the short story called Sunita by Chibundu Onuzo. Now, this short story is not that popular, but it is definitely something that a lot of people I would think enjoy reading. In just a few pages, it shows us a young woman struggling to overcome this colonizing the mind. And in this process, we learn about how the women in color from Africa are viewed in London, in posh places. So, our main character, Dolapo, is from Nigeria. Her family's from Nigeria, and she's really rich. And her family sends her to London, where she attends an basically all-white girls' school. And so as she approaches graduation, she is assigned a mentor who is also a woman of color. And that mentor is there to prepare her for job interviews. And her mentor tells her that in order to look posh, she should have hair that looks curled, that looks normal. It shouldn't look like how her afro does. It shouldn't look unruly. And she teaches her how to look posh and dignified, and in order to do that, she tells her to buy a weave for her hair. And so when Dolapo puts on the weave, she starts to miss her amazing afro underneath, and she says that she loves its untamable, uncombable sprawl. And we see that Dolapo is torn because she wants to get a job, and she knows that would please her parents, but at the same time, she also wants to be herself. So if you're wondering why the short story is called Sunita, it's because she learns that her weave is made using hair from, obviously, other people. And she learns that most of the time, this hair is from people in India who sell their hair in order to get money. And she keeps getting these flashbacks where she is in the mind of a girl who has shaved all her hair and sold it in order to get money for her family. And that is another reason why she starts to not want to wear the weave. Now, I don't want to reveal the full plot of the story, and I don't want to reveal exactly what Dolapo ends up doing. So I'm going to tell you a couple facts about the author. Now, Chibundu Onuzo was born in 1991. She is a Nigerian novelist, and her first novel, The Spider King's Daughter, won a Betty Trask Award, and it was shortlisted for many other prizes. Onuzo received a first-class bachelor's degree in history from King's College London in 2012 and went on to earn a master's degree in public policy from the University College London. And as of 2017, she was studying for a PhD at King's College London. In April 2014, Onuzo was selected for the Hay Festival's Africa 39, which is a list of 39 sub-Saharan African writers who are aged under 40 and they have potential and talent to define future trends in African literature. In June 2018, Onuzo was elected a Fellow of the Royal Society of Literature in its 40 Under 40 initiative. At the 2020 American Black Film Festival, the HBO short film competition was won by Dolapo is Fine, for which Onuzo co-wrote on the screenplay and which is based on her short story Sunita, which we will be reading today. The film, which was directed by Joan Iola, has also been longlisted for the BAFTA British Short Film Award. Now, I don't know the exact publication date of Sunita, but I do know that it was included in New Daughters of Africa, an international anthology of writing by women of African descent, which was edited by Margaret Busby, and that book was published in 2019. Without further ado, let's get on with the story. Remember to like, share, subscribe, and comment down which short story you would like to hear next. Sunita by Chibundu Onuzo. Dolapo twirled a strand of premium Brazilian hair around her finger, round and round, until the dark hair completely covered her nail. It was a tic for white girls, this constant fiddling with hair, flicking ponytails, running hand through locks, tucking strands behind ears, sweeping ringlets aside, tossing manes back, seduction rippling in millions of follicles. An ex-boyfriend had tried to run his hand through her afro once. His fingers remained painfully stuck at the roots. His nails snagged on a tight curl. Herbert would have been able to poke his pink fingers into her new tresses, rising until he reached the contraption of cornrows and thread that held it all together. It was a good weave. It was not stiff, proclaiming by its rigor that it was a helmet of synthetic fibers, immovable in the face of an earthquake or hurricane. Her weave bounced, swayed, flew into her mouth at the slightest gust of wind. Her weave was smooth, silken, glossy, a buoyant advert for Pantene, and yet she was dissatisfied with her new look. First, there was the unnaturalness of it. Real human hair from somebody else's scalp now framed her head and rested on her clavicles. Then there was a cost of 300 pounds. There had been cheaper options, hair swept up from cutting floors of salons and stitched onto a double-wefted track. Mongrel hair, her auntie said, assembled from hundreds of different heads. Coarse strands, smooth strands, blonde strands, red strands, gray strands, all dyed a uniform black that hid their imperfections. Get quality, her cousin said. You can reuse quality. Wear it, wash it, use it again. Wear it, wash it, use it again. There was nothing wrong with her new weave. John, a course mate in whom she had once harbored a vague interest, had said to her, "Love the new look, Dollop. Very glamorous." "Actually, I'm calling myself Dolly now," she had wanted to reply, but he was gone, striding away in his Abercrombie shirt, body of a band lead, brains the consistency of hair gel. She had been christened Dollop by the girls in her Wiltshire boarding school, their slender Anglo-Saxon tongues unable to wrap themselves around the chunky syllables of Dolapo. Dumpling Dollop, dimpled donut. She had been called chubby back then, breathless at the sight of a lacrosse stick. She lost weight in the summer before university, sprinting on a treadmill for an hour each day, living on nuts and red berries like a squirrel. She had lost 30 pounds in 2 months. She should have lost her nickname as well. "Don't tell me you introduced yourself to people as Dollop," her mentor, Daisy, had said in their first meeting. "That makes you sound like a blob of cream on the end of a spoon. No one can pronounce Dolapo. And nobody can pronounce a daze. Doesn't mean I should call myself dazed. I walk into a room confidently with my shoulders back and say, 'Hi, my name is Daisy, but you can call me Daisy. Now go out, come back in, and introduce yourself again.'" Dolapo had been sent out of the room twice for introducing herself as Lapo and Ola. Finally, she had come up with Dolly. "Take a seat, Dolly," her mentor had said. "Now we've given you a name. Let's talk about your hair." Dolapo loved the afro now hidden under her weave, loved its untamable, uncombable sprawl, loved the extra inches it added to her height, loved the mushroom silhouette of her head in photos, loved hair that grew up instead of down, gravity-defying, extraterrestrial hair. "It's fine if you want to work in advertising or publishing or media or fashion or maybe even engineering, but certainly not banking," Daisy said. "My friends like it." "White friends or black?" "Does it really matter? White or black?" "Mostly white." "They think it's funky, edgy, and cool, don't they?" "What's wrong with that?" "Never elegant, chic, glamorous. These are the adjectives we use for women in banking. These are the adjectives for success. As a black woman, let me be honest. When you walked into this room, what I saw was unprofessional, unkempt, and unserious." She had been paired with Daisy by Diversity Unlimited, a recruitment firm that helped companies fill up their ethnic minority quota. Daisy had worked for 7 years in an investment bank. Daisy carried a red leather bag with slim curved handles, discreet and silver letters spelling out Prada under the zip. Daisy wore structured dresses, thin black heels, milky pearls, minimal lipstick, dramatic eyeshadow, and cascading hair that swept below her shoulders. Daisy's hair cost £1,000. Dolapo's more modest purchase came in a black cardboard box, edged with gold curlicue. Her hair lay lustrous on a bed of crepe, folded into itself like a sleek creature, like a sable or a mink. Her aunt had gone with her to the salon, leafing through the magazines as they wove Dolapo stitches that made her eyes water. She'd Skyped her parents in Nigeria once she got home. "Opeo," her mother sang, her face large and happy on the screen. "Thank God you've finally gotten rid of that bush. Darling, come and see your eldest daughter." The tablet was passed to Dolapo's father. "Dola, dears, you look beautiful. You always look beautiful. Afro, weave on, whatever. I'm so proud of you." He was the more emotional of the two, prone to bursts of affirmation, fed by his unvaried diet of American motivational books. "You are what you eat, what you say, what you think." Mantras he repeated like sutras. "Thanks, Dad. I'm going to bed now. This weave is giving me a headache." "Beauty is pain," her mother said in the background. The first night, with her hair tucked under a net, she dreamt she was on a cart, her legs dangling over the platform, above short grass. Her tongue lay on her mouth, like a pebble, smooth and dry. The cart swayed through the hot field, the wooden wheels creaking and rumbling on the axe, 20 noisy revolutions per minute. An ant crawled up her leg. Her calf was slim, thinner than she had ever wanted to be, almost wasted. She flicked the insect away. A bracelet of red and plastic beads stirred on her wrist. It was not her body, she realized, as she crossed from dream into her cold bedroom in Hampstead. All through her lectures that day, the field rose before her like a sentimental painting, a bourgeois imagining of rural life: green grass, blue sky, wooden cart. The professor spoke of economic structures in medieval Europe, of peasant families and agriculture networks. "You look so different," her friend Priscilla said as they walked into the tube. "Different how?" "Just different. I liked your afro. It's under here somewhere. But how does it work? Whose hair is this?" "Does it matter? I need it to look this way to work in a bank." Priscilla did not ask what she meant. Priscilla, with her corn-colored lank hair, would never need to know what Dolapo meant. Instead, Priscilla asked, "Who studies history and goes off to work in a bank?" "I'm not you. I can't just become the director of Daddy's luxury tea company." Priscilla's blue eyes widened. "That's so unnecessary, Dollop. It's not like your parents aren't rich." "I'm calling myself Dolly now," she said as the barriers clattered open. Dolapo had read somewhere that cheese gave strange dreams. That second night, she exchanged her bedtime snack of brie and 2 crackers for carrot and hummus. She dreamt she was on the back of the cart again, fresh vegetables and fruit crowding around her. It had rained and the field had turned to mud. "Sunita," someone said. She looked back and saw 2 bullocks, their horns rising like pale crescents, sharp-tipped and dangerous. They were pulling the cart, their shoulder blades rolling with each step. "My name is Dolapo Owolabi," she said when she woke up. "My name is Dolapo," she muttered as she rode on the tube. The ground beneath her, a black mudslide. In the windows, she saw the marble eyes of a bullock. The third night, she was afraid to sleep. Her first interview was tomorrow, and she couldn't sleep. Daisy had called her that evening to ask what she had thought of the falling oil prices. Dolapo had not heard. "I've told you, you have to be going over the financial pages." "Have you done your hair?" Yes, I was wondering, do you know where it comes from? Is it Brazil? Well, it's called Brazilian hair, but it's mostly from India. The women sell it to make money for their families. I read something about getting the hair from temples as well, but I don't know if I believe that. Anyway, focus, Dolly, and tell me the difference between a stock and a bond. When she got off the phone, she stared at the high Victorian ceiling of her bedroom. The house was hollow without her parents and her two brothers. They were safely asleep in Nigeria. Who could she call? Her English friends wouldn't get it. Her Nigerian cousins would tell her to get a grip. Get a grip, Dolapo, she said to herself. This time, Dolapo dreamt she was in a cool, dark room. She put her hands on the walls, pitted mud walls that her fingers slid into. There was an earthen bowl in front of her. She drank from it and tasted buffalo milk, fat and creamy, freshly squeezed from an udder that morning. Sunita, stop dawdling. Hurry so you won't be late for school. She stepped into the sunlight into a lane with other huts with brown walls and gray thatched roofs, thatch made of woven grass reeds and coconut leaves. There were other children emerging in blue and white uniforms. Sunita, where's your hair? A little boy with dirty knees asked. She ran her hand over her scalp and felt the stubble of new growth bristling against her palm. Baldy, he chanted behind her as they walked to school. Baldy, Baldy. She waited until the huts were out of sight, and then she flung her back to the ground. Your mother is a Baldy. She launched herself at her tormentor, and they fell to the ground. Dolapo woke up with her legs still thrashing. She went to her dressing table and brushed out Sunita's hair. She could still feel herself rolling in the Indian dirt, kicking and spitting, scratching. She hoped she'd won. No one messed with Sunita, and no one messed with her. She flicked her weave over her shoulder, glamorous for one last time, and then she found a razor and began to slit the stitches that bound her and Sunita together. 6 hours later, Dolapo walked into a room in Cannery Wharf, in a structured dress, thin black heels, a single strand of pearls, and her hair combed out to be its tallest, whitest, a globe of afro, space for Europe, Africa, and Asia on her head. Hello, good morning. I'm Dolapo Owablabi. Good morning, I'm Mike Jones. Is there a name you prefer to be called by? Just Dolapo is fine. Please take a seat, Dolapo, and tell us why you want to work in banking.